This test is going to be current ramping of the fuel pump. Now, in order to do that, I need to set up the scope so it'll measure the 20 amp scale of our inductive amp probe. I need to clamp that around either a fuel wire, or a wire running to the fuel pump or returning from the fuel pump, either one. Or what I'm going to do today is actually bypass the relay. So I'm going to put a jumper wire across the relay terminal, and I'm going to put the current probe around that. So let me get that done, and I'll show it to you here in just a minute or so. Okay, there's that mess. That looks like a very nice pattern. What I'm looking for, ideally, symmetrical bumps running along there. Every time a commutator comes near, through, around, whatever you want to put it, as it's passing through a brush and the current passes through the brush and commutator, we get this rising and falling of current. Overall, we can determine what the amperage is, and again, looking at this, if all of them look nice like this, we cannot fault that fuel pump. Electrically, the fuel pump appears to be very nice. We can see that we're pulling 4.5 amps or so. And again, a nice, just symmetrical hump there, if you will. Very nice pattern. Electrically speaking, the fuel pump is fine. However, I don't know if it's actually moving the proper amount of fuel. I can't determine that from this. But the nice thing about current ramping the fuel pump is typically you will see a fuel pump in the early stages of failure before the customer even has any type of complaint. So again, this is something nice, maybe some type of preventative maintenance thing that you can do. If a customer comes in for an oil change, maybe suggest that once a year or so they have this done. So again, you get an idea whether electrically the pump is in good shape and whether or not it's in early stages of failure. So take care of it before it strands them on the side of the road. But again, very nice pattern. There are some people that will go so far as to say you can calculate the RPM of the fuel pump through this, and you can if you have a unique enough commutator segment. And I'm not seeing anything that's unique to this. All of them appear to be pretty close to the same shape. I will go ahead and freeze that. Maybe I will. Again, looking at that, I don't see anything that's unique enough to identify one individual commutator segment. So as far as finding RPM on this one, no, I have no way to do that accurately. If I knew exactly how many commutator segments were in the pump, well, then I could, but it's a Mazda. I don't know much about Mazdas, so I can't tell you how many commutator segments are there. So I'd say this is a good pump electrically. Here's an example of a fuel pump current ramp that is unique enough to determine the number of commutator segments per revolution. Between the lines there, you can see that I have marked there are 8 commutator segments. Now, this is the number of commutator segments per revolution. I also see that it takes 8 milliseconds for those 8 commutator segments to be completed. So 8 milliseconds per revolution. Now I know that I've got 60,000 milliseconds per minute. So if I take 60,000 divided by the time it takes for one revolution in milliseconds, I will end up with revolutions per minute. In this case, I have 7,500 RPM. So here's an example of how RPM might be calculated from looking at a current ramp.